Good evening, and welcome to the 21st Academic Achievement Awards Banquet. Tonight, there'll be 131 students recognized for their academic excellence. I think you all deserve a round of applause. I'm honored to be standing here in front of such a distinguished group. I'm talking about you, the students seated before me. As Holly said, I'm Judy Redmond, and I'm chairman of the Greater Port Huron Area Chamber of Commerce. 30 years ago, I was graduating from Port Huron High School. It's truly hard to believe because 1975 seems like just yesterday. There wasn't a banquet back then to honor academic excellence. And I can sincerely say I'm very proud to be on the chamber who sponsors such an event along with the Board of Education and the Port Huron Area School District. I'm proud of all of you, your families, and teachers, and others who've supported you in your endeavors. The Greater Port Huron Area Chamber of Commerce began in 1917 and has grown to over 450 business members, whether they're retailers, manufacturers, service providers, and other community organizations. The purpose of the Chamber is to partner with our membership to create a sustainable business environment that acts as a catalyst for economic growth, advancement of education, quality of life, and civic interest. And you may say, yes, so what? What's that got to do with me? And it's a good question because really tonight the focus should be on you personally, and your individual efforts. But I want to tell you that it's like dropping a pebble into a stream, and the concentric rings and the effect that you have on your community. Because when businesses look to relocate, one of the key factors they look at is academic excellence. And all of you represent that, and you help businesses come to our community. I'd like to really give an opportunity to thank the sponsors who've made this evening possible. They've partnered with the school district and the chamber and provided financial support for this evening. From Bank One, if you would please stand and remain standing till I've announced all the sponsors, I would appreciate it. Mary Langolf and her husband Steve. Mary. Standard Federal Bank, Valerie Maher and her husband Mark. ENA Credit Union, Jan Rose and Michelle Meyer. Michelle is also a chamber board member. Eastern Michigan Bank, Paul Leidy and his wife Laura. Paul is also a chamber board member. Flagship Credit Union, Pat Hillis could not be with us tonight, and from Citizens First Bank, Marsh Campbell could not attend either. Please give these people a warm round of applause. A few other introductions to get us underway this evening, and that is Mr. William Kimball, Superintendent of Schools. Mr. Thomas Miller, Assistant Superintendent of Schools. Mrs. Barbara Daniels, President, Board of Education. Anna Kovar, Board of Trustees, and her husband Richard. Is Anna here? They're not here yet. Mr. John Williams is our educational consultant and our speaker this evening. Mr. Williams, thank you. I'd also like to give a great round of applause to Mr. Ken Kraft. He put this event together and just a marvelous organizer. He's the Director of PR and Fine Arts. Thank you, Ken. From our school district, we have some representatives. Gordon Jameson, Executive Director of Program Services, HR. Principal Cheryl Voitos from Port Huron Northern High School and the staff. Principal Ron Willing could not be here this evening. He's honoring another Port Huron High School senior, but I would like to recognize the staff from Port Huron High School. If you guys could kind of wave your hands. You've already heard from Holly Quain, and I would just like to recognize Holly's efforts because she and Ken worked diligently to make this event happen. Holly. And my colleague at the Chamber, Mr. Mike Kimberly, who is Chair-elect for the Greater Port Huron Area Chamber. I've said the word proud several times tonight, and I just want to tell you what it means to me and why I've used that word. The P stands for parents, and it may be a parent, and it may be an aunt, an uncle, a grandparent, a cousin, a friend, even a neighbor. And those are the people that have supported all of you through your endeavors and through your journey to get here tonight. The R stands for relationships. The relationships that you have with all of those people who have created and set the foundation and will be significant in that foundation carrying you on to your next journey. O is for organization. I heard on the national news probably about 3 weeks ago that one of the things I've identified that makes high school students successful is that they're organized. They know what's due, they know when, and they know to hit that target and hit it running. The U is for understanding and knowledge, and you all have demonstrated that by being here tonight. You need to build on that and keep it going. The D is for devotion. Set your goals high, devote yourself to them, and achieve them. And my final word is, Bill Gates has made it real cool to be smart, and you all are cool. I'm going to turn it over to Ken Kraft. Ken? Oh, yeah, sorry.
This is Anna Kovar and her husband Richard, whom we introduced a little bit earlier. Is Richard here, Anna? Yep. Okay, there you go. I thought maybe you were escorting her to the table as a gentleman and just part of the staff. On this occasion of celebration, I would invite you, regardless of our backgrounds, our heritage, our beliefs, no matter how diverse they may be, to stop for a moment and consider the things for which we can truly be thankful. Let us be thankful for the achievements of our children as they have excelled in academics, athletics, activities, and community service. May we be thankful, too, for the friendships, experiences, and accomplishments that have enriched their lives. To the students, I invite you to give thanks for the sacrifices of your parents who have provided so much over the years: transportation to events and activities, discipline and expectation, as well as support and praise, guidance and correction as needed, financial support, moral support, and a listening ear whenever you really felt like talking, and much, much more. Let us all be thankful for the dedication of teachers, coaches, and sponsors and administrators who have provided encouragement and motivation in the classroom, on the playing field, in clubs and activities and leadership groups, helping to shape our students into the young adults they are today. Let us be thankful for the cultural diversity of our community that gives us all a unique opportunity to learn about the similarities and differences that enrich our lives every day. May we count our blessings and appreciate the strength we find in our faith and beliefs whenever we face tribulation. For health and happiness, comfort and direction, may we be thankful for those who have given their lives that we may enjoy the personal freedoms that we sometimes take for granted. And may those who fight to preserve our freedoms be kept safe from harm. Now let us be thankful for the food we are about to receive, for the strength and nourishment it provides, and for the fellowship of this special celebration. We hope that you enjoy your meal. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Barbara Daniels, and I'm the president of the Board of Education. I am very happy to be here this evening to honor these students on their outstanding academic success. To be honored tonight, these students needed to attain by their senior year a cumulative grade point average of 3.5 or better. The awards they will be receiving will reflect how many years they have held that GPA. If this is their first year, they will receive a pin, their second, a letter, their third or fourth year is a bar. They will also receive a certificate of recognition and an academic awards booklet. This is such an accomplishment. The world is more complex, and these students will be competing globally, not just locally. So what we ask of students today is significantly different from what was asked of us at their age. The classes are harder, the graduation requirements have been increased, all to ensure that our students are well prepared to meet the challenges ahead. Today's students are not only taking college prep classes, but also actual college classes that, for those who do well, may be awarded college credit. Many of these students will start their freshman year in college having already earned several credits. Students, we are so very proud of you. To be here tonight, you have managed to balance your schoolwork, the many extracurricular activities you've been involved in, along with along with volunteering in your community, working, and I'm sure maintaining an active social life. And you've done it all exceptionally well. This ability to do several things and be successful at them will serve you well. But you've had help along the way. Your parents certainly deserve to feel proud tonight, not just of you, but of the job they've done in getting you to this point. I feel that behind every successful student stand devoted, involved parents who realized early on that their children's education is a team effort, that of the student, the teacher, and the parent. Parents, as you sit here tonight, first wondering where have all the years gone? Wasn't it just yesterday that kids were starting kindergarten? Take a moment to pat yourselves on the back. Obviously, you've done a great job. Students, also thank your teachers. None of us would be where we are today were it not for the dedication and commitment of all those teachers who each in their own way touched our lives and inspired us. Again, students, congratulations on your achievement. I know the hard work, skills, and commitment to excellence that got you here will help you to accomplish great things. I, along with all the members of the Board of Education, wish you happiness and success in all your future endeavors. Thank you. Now it is my pleasure to introduce our Superintendent of Schools, William Kimball. Bill and his wife, Willanne, have been lifelong members of this community, attended Port Huron area schools, and both graduated from Port Huron High School in 1963. They have raised two sons, Ryan and Brett, both of whom graduated from Port Huron Northern. Bill has served the district as a teacher, a principal, an assistant superintendent, and as our superintendent. He is devoted to our school district. He, like the students, is very good at balancing his many responsibilities. Being the largest employer in St. Clair County, he is responsible for approximately 1,400 employees for whom he cares very deeply. He maintains a fiscally sound district, which in these tough economic times is challenging to say the least. He is the educational leader, making sure that the education of our students prepares them for an ever-changing world. It is through Bill's leadership that we have a district that is recognized around the state as a district to emulate. I was a newly elected board member when we needed to hire a new superintendent. I was confident then that we made the right choice in hiring Mr. Kimball. In the 7.5 years since, he has proven himself as an exceptional leader and certainly has earned my respect. And it is with great sadness that we will need to say goodbye to Mr. Kimball as he is retiring at the end of this school year. I believe that all of us, as we walk through this world, we leave footprints behind that mark our being here. Mr. Kimball's footprints will continue to be noticed far beyond his last day and will positively impact the scores of students yet to come through our doors. He has been, and I know he will continue to be, an advocate for our children. Please help me welcome William Kimball.
Good evening. It's truly my pleasure to be here. I think that the Academic Awards Program is really one of the finest things that happens in the Port Huron Area School District, and I always like to take this opportunity to congratulate not only our students who have done a wonderful job, but also the parents. they would not be here tonight without your guidance, support, and help. And they'll need that through their college years as well. And I've been through that with my 2 kids, and sometimes I think you actually spend more guidance during that time than you do when they're in high school. But we certainly appreciate your support and congratulate you on the wonderful successes of your children. This is the 21st year that we've been here for this program. And I think the first year we had maybe around 40 students. And somebody said tonight it's kind of cool to be smart and be a good student. I think the Port Huron Area School District has kind of led the way on that, because we really think it is cool to do well in school and be successful and work hard and to achieve those kinds of goals. So I certainly appreciate the Chamber of Commerce. I don't think that there's a chamber in the state of Michigan that has done more to help the public schools than the Chamber of Commerce in the Port Huron area. They've done a great job every single year. Wonderful leadership. And also, I have to say, the banks and the financial institutions that are mentioned in your program have really stepped up to make this a wonderful opportunity. And what a great place. This is our first year here. They just did a great job, I think, with everything tonight. So, thank you. Thank you. It's my pleasure tonight to introduce our speaker. And we've had the greatest speakers for this program every year, and I know tonight is not going to be an exception. At this time, it is my privilege and pleasure to introduce our guest speaker, Mr. John L. Williams. As Deputy Director of the Michigan Department of Career Development, Mr. Williams directed the offices of Career and Technical Preparation, Adult Education, and Post-Secondary Services. These offices have jurisdiction over all state-approved career and technical educational programs in Michigan, including more than 2,000 occupational programs at some 400 secondary schools and area career centers. John was elected by his peers to serve on the Board of Directors of the National Association of State Directors of Career and Technical Education and was selected Secretary-Treasurer of the group. He successfully implemented Michigan's career preparation system, which provides appropriate career development information and experiences for all Michigan students. John's extensive experience dealing with all aspects of the educational community, combined with his ability to connect business, labor, and industry with education, make him a key player in forging education, business, community partnerships. He understands the education system at all levels as a result of his teaching and administrative work. He has worked through all levels of the education system as a teacher, athletic director, assistant principal, and finally as a regional career and tech administrator. His commitment to connecting education to people's lives has been recognized through a number of service positions and awards. John has been married for 33 years, has 3 daughters. He enjoys outdoor sports, reading, and home improvement projects. Please help me welcome our guest speaker, Mr. John Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Kimball. It's certainly a pleasure to be here with you tonight. It's been a few years since I had the opportunity to attend a function like this of such outstanding students from a single school district, and this is quite a crowd. It's an impressive crowd of students and parents, and as Board of Ed President Daniel said, my congratulations to you parents for the support and involvement you've shown to help contribute to the success of your students. Actually, I've been to Port Huron before. As a young child, my family lived here, and I attended kindergarten, first, second, and part of 3rd grade. And about the only thing I remember, unfortunately, from my time here was catching turtles down in the river. And I attended Garfield Elementary, which I understand is still around. So some things don't change, which is good. Also, I was here for a couple of Port Huron to Mackinac races, but I stayed on the boat. Just want to let you know. And I was also here because one of my responsibilities at the state was the Commission on Spanish-Speaking Affairs, and in honor of the Hispanic population in our country and in this state, in this county, I'd like to wish everybody a happy Cinco de Mayo, which is today, which everybody should be aware of. So a happy day to you in that regard. I'm not here to talk about my experiences. growing up, or actually in education, my 35 years in the field of education. I'm here to talk about the students. I'm here to talk about you students and what you're going to do from here. Because obviously up until this point, you have shown the kind of tenacity and persistence and consistency of effort necessary to be successful in the field of education. Many of you, I'm sure, will continue your studies at the post-secondary level, whether it's a community college or four-year college or university, or perhaps some technical training or the military. There will be a different level that you'll encounter there, no matter which of those avenues you pursue. And then when you leave the educational environment eventually and go to work, it will be yet again a new experience for you. You need to prepare for that new environment. Several years ago, I had the good fortune to pick up a book on management written by Bowman and Deal called Leading with Soul. And in a portion of that book, the authors talked about a company that had purchased another company, and they wanted to bring the two organizations together in such a way as to allay fears and uncertainties about the future. So they developed a slogan, if you will. And it was simply, honor the past, celebrate the present, and look to the future. And those are excellent words to live by. As we think about the first part of that, honoring the past, let's think about some of the changes that have occurred in the lifetime of these students. It was Eric Hoffer who said, in times of drastic change, it is the learners who will inherit the earth, while the learned find themselves beautifully equipped to live in a world which no longer exists. Students, you need to be ready to consistently and continuously learn across your lifetime. Your parents will tell you that. Technologically, the changes that we adults have faced have been daunting. Much of that due to the computer technology, which did not exist when we were young. In fact, the rate of technological change has been increasing at such a rapid pace. Let me give you a couple of examples. The personal computer, which was just beginning to be introduced about 1975, took 16 years to reach mass use by the American public. Mass use defined by 25% of the people using on a regular basis. 16 years for the computer. Mobile phones, 13 years. Only since about 1983 have they been in existence. The web really became available to the American public around 1994, and it took 4 years to reach mass use. Did you know that as a fairly average American, you encounter 79 microprocessors by 9:30 in the morning? It's kind of scary. You don't know where they are. Microprocessors are the chips that control things. They're the heart of the computers. They're in your refrigerators. They're in your toaster ovens. There's 27 of them in an average full-size American car. That's technology, and it has infiltrated, if you will, our lives to the point that we're not even aware of where all these technological wonders are. In fact, I remember bringing home that first wonder of technology called the Commodore 64 computer. Some of you remember that? I can see some of you are in my vintage. And for you kids, that was 64K of memory. And then we progressed to the 128s, and that was astounding. And it was back in 1985 that William Moore, who was vice president of Intel, predicted, and it was a very wild guess at the time, that computing power would double every 18 months with no increase in price. And that has held true every year. And the predictions are that rate of change will continue for at least another 20 years. And for your students, just to put it in perspective, in case you haven't read this in your history classes at the high school, let's say you're going to a birthday party. And these were more popular a few years ago, but along the way you stop and pick up a birthday card, and you open it up, it plays happy birthday. Simple little thing. As simple as that is, That card contains more computing power than existed in the world prior to 1950, the year that many we parents were born. And when you arrive at the birthday party, the father of the birthday boy or girl is using a video camera to record the festivities. That video camera has more computing power than the IBM 360, which started the mainframe revolution. And as a gift, the young boy or girl receives a Sega Genesis, which contains more computing power than the 1976 Cray supercomputer, which was only available to the military and research institutions. These are toys to you of the millennial generation, because that's what your generation is called, the millennials, born since about 1982. Your generation has been brought up with a box of crayons in one hand and a computer mouse in the other. You don't necessarily adapt to technology, you just use it because it's second nature to you. We adults have had to adapt and to learn and to change. In fact, one of the early technical jokes, if you will, about adults and technology was when VCRs first came out, and I'm sure you students don't remember that, but some of the adults probably will. The joke going around is, how do you get a VCR, the clock on a VCR, to stop blinking 12? Ask your kid to set it. Because for many of us adults, it was too difficult. I think one of my favorite examples of the differences in the generations between use of technology and what second nature it is to this millennial generation is at the holiday season. Last couple of years, a commercial on TV. Here's mom and dad in the home, night before Christmas, trying to assemble a bicycle that came out of a box. And there's no directions in the carton. So the little girl for whom it's intended is standing at the top of the stairs, peering through the rails. And she sees what the problem is. She's about 9, 10 years old. She goes into her room, turns her computer on, goes to the website of that company, finds the model that they're trying to assemble, downloads and prints the instructions, brings it back to the top of the stairs and drops it off. Then it kind of floats down. And Dad says, ah, here they are. Now, Mom and Dad can do their job. The student first turned to the internet, the source of information, 24/7. Anybody, anywhere, anything, anytime. That attitude is what our students have grown up with in terms of gathering information and using information. I'm not saying it's good or bad. There are some parts of that that are perhaps negative. But speaking of the internet, how many of you are familiar with Internet 2? A couple have heard about it. Actually, the majority of the real workings of the internet as we know it now were developed at the University of Michigan by Martin Van Houweling, not Al Gore, as some of us heard. And it came into being first as a U.S. government-funded project, and then research institutions, universities, needed a way to share information, so they developed this thing called the internet, and it eventually became available to the general public. Well, now there's so much traffic jamming the internet. 4 years ago, 125 research institutions came together again, rehired Martin Van Houweling to develop Internet 2, which is just coming online and available to these research institutions. Let me give you an example of the capabilities of Internet 2. It's estimated that to fully download the movie The Matrix, heavy in graphics, a long movie, would take approximately 25 hours on our standard broadband cable connection. 25 hours. In a recent demonstration, Internet 2 downloaded that entire movie in 30 minutes. That's the kind of capability which before too much longer we'll have access to. Our education systems will have access to. Think how that will change the face of our education systems and society. So we're faced with tremendous change. And tremendous change has resulted in tremendous number of options in many cases. Just as an example, if you walk into a big box pharmacy like CVS, Rite Aid, Walgreens, I think I had most of them, so I'm not playing favorites. But any typical big box pharmacy, you'll encounter 360 different types of shampoo, mousse, and conditioner. 360. You go in because you have a headache, there's 80 different kinds of painkillers. Have you gone to buy a pair of jeans lately? I can remember, that was a fairly simple task. You went in because there was one rack, had two different colors, blue and black, the waist size, and maybe two different styles, traditional and boot cut. What are there now? Yeah, there's traditional, there's boot cut, there's slim, there's easy, there's relaxed fit, and that's not even talking about the elastic waistbands. About 17 different colors, and you're thinking, what has jeans got to do with education in the future? You know, the textile industry was not known for their innovation until computer-assisted manufacturing came along. And just like the automotive industry and most businesses now are just-in-time manufacturing, just-in-time, and that results in many more options for we as people in our society. But the question remains, does this plethora of options result in greater life satisfaction and happiness? Barry Schwartz, a professor at Swarthmore College, has recently published a book on this very topic, where he theorizes that sometimes we have too many options, sometimes we have too many choices. How do we cull all this information, whether it's from the internet or painkillers or the 40 different kinds of toothpaste, or what career to pursue? How do we cull all that information into something that makes sense and is meaningful to us as individuals? And that is truly a challenge that we are facing now. And it's not just in technology, although this generation can adapt and handle those kinds of issues better, because this is the first time in the history of the human race that a generation of kids has overtaken their parents in the use of new technology. It used to be the parents discovered new technology, brought it home, taught it to the kids. That's not the case anymore. In fact, the Mercury News, which is the main newspaper in Silicon Valley, recently surveyed adults, and they found out almost 60% of adults in what we consider the technical mecca in this country consider their kids to be more technically literate than the parents. So don't feel so bad if you had to ask your son or daughter to fix that blinking 12 on your VCR. This is the best educated generation in our history. And there are those who will point to international comparisons that perhaps don't support that. But they are, because as was mentioned earlier, we have asked you to learn more and in a more intense way than any other generation. You know, you're also the most numerous, which surprises many people. We boomers were always considered to be the largest generation. We topped out about 75 million. The millennials are around 77 million. It's just that generations that preceded the boomers were half our size, so we had a much greater impact. You millennials, there's a lot of you, and that's borne out by the fact that in 1998, there were more students in K-12 education in this country than ever before in our history. 98. We've set a record every year since, and we'll continue to set a record until the year 2008. There are a lot of you in the millennial generation. And just to bear out what was stated earlier, 8 out of 10 millennials when surveyed say it's cool to be smart. Yeah, I can assure you that wasn't the case in at least some of the preceding generations. But I think when we look at different generations and their attitudes, it's just as important to look at, still in the past, the different experiences you've had from the preceding generations. For example, for many in this generation, the millennials, the Kennedy tragedy was a plane crash, not an assassination. Think about it. Think about the times in which our kids have grown up. To the millennials, wars begin and end quickly. It's the peacekeeping missions that go on forever. Toyotas and Hondas have always been built in the U.S. What's the big deal? Remember the 80s, the 70s, when foreign manufacturers were first coming into this country? Spam and cookies aren't necessarily food. In fact, I don't think many millennials have ever tasted Spam, and that's to your benefit. A .45 is a gun, not a record with a big hole in it. That was when we were growing up. Woodstock is a bird. Not a cultural happening like I think 57 million adults would say they were there. Coming out parties celebrate more than social debutantes. It's part of the fabric of society. And students feel more danger from being in school and having sex than from nuclear war. When I was growing up, and some of you, some of our neighbors had bomb shelters, Russia was the evil empire, the Cold War, the Cuban Missile Crisis. That doesn't exist for you, but you have other worries. And people don't always predict trends correctly. Because in 1982, the New York Times, in their wisdom, 1982, 33 years ago, or 23 years ago, predicted that video games, this fad, is now over. In 1982. When in fact, today's most popular video games have 17 different activities occurring simultaneously on the screen. And that's why our kids are so good at multitasking, because they can actually catch what's happening. Mid-Continent Region Education Lab did an interesting study a few years ago about how adults do video games versus how kids do video games. Because we adults were brought up and taught in a linear, sequential fashion. You do this, then you do this, then you do this. That's how we would approach video games. So a typical adult doing a video game looks like this if the screen's out here. You know, and that was with those sophisticated games like Pac-Man and Dig Dug. But you watch kids do these video games. Their heads don't even move. And yet they can absorb the entire screen at once. That's multitasking. Let me give you another attitude, characteristic of this generation that when I first heard, I thought, well, that can't be. It's contradictory. Individualistic, yet group-oriented. Individualistic, yet group-oriented. Let me give you an example that demonstrates this. The military spends millions of dollars identifying what resonates with the group they're trying to recruit, because they have to maintain a volunteer army. In the baby boomer generation, at the end of the World War II generation, beginning of us baby boomers, they played on the nationalistic, patriotic, Uncle Sam wants you. We baby boomers were the first generation to really get into growth and development, I'm okay, you're okay kinds of things. So the Army recruiting slogan then was, be all you can be. It resonated with my generation. Gen Xers, which was in between, never really developed a clear-cut identity, so they just kind of didn't really come up with a slogan. Well, what's the Army's recruiting slogan today? Anybody know? The Army of One. Individualistic, yet group-oriented. These students, these kids, have their own goals, their own ideas, their own ambitions, but they're very comfortable being in groups. They hang out in groups, they date in groups, they move in clumps. And they're very comfortable with that. They actually acknowledge and admire some authorities, which again was somewhat different from previous generations. They're conventional, and they get along well with their parents. 9 out of 10 millennials, when surveyed, say they like and trust their parents. And that's very unusual across a generation. Part of that is the way parents have acted towards these millennials. You know, there's a sociological term called helicopter parents. Have you heard that? The parent who's always hovering over their children. This is the most overscheduled, least amount of free time generation in history. Somehow they have survived, at least so far. Let's celebrate the present. That's really what we're doing here tonight. And I want to celebrate again and add my voice in thanking you parents for what you have done to help your sons and daughters succeed to this point, and your teachers. You know, I love it when I ask a teacher, what do you teach? And they say kids, instead of English or math or science. There's an axiom about students that says, kids don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And I'd be willing to bet, students, that your favorite teachers were the ones that, yes, taught you the content area, but also definitely showed an interest and a caring about you as a person. And that's what your parents have done for you. As parents, it's our duty to give our kids roots and wings. It looks like you've done a good job providing them with roots in a good, secure, involved home format. Now we'll see how well you do with their wings and how well you survive as they move off onto their next step. One of the classes I taught as an English teacher in high school was about Mark Twain, Samuel Clemens, and one of his quotations is, "The secret to success is making your vocation your vacation. Finding what you truly like to do and doing that for a living." By the way, he also had some advice on child rearing, keeping in mind when he lived. His theory of child rearing was, at the age of 13, put the child in a barrel and feed him through the bunghole. When they turned 16, plug the hole. But I'm sure you've never felt that way about your kids. So let's look to the future. And about the future, the main point that I want to make to you students is, in light of all the changes going on around you and all the changes that will continue to take place, recognize and appreciate the value of planning. And the fact you always have to have a plan B. Because no matter how well you plan and prepare, life happens. So planning is essential to your continued success. But also recognize that you have to be able to change and adapt that plan to changing conditions. More than half of the Fortune 500 companies at the turn of the century no longer exist because they were not adept at changing with the environment. You have to act as an entrepreneur. You are the CEO of yourself. You need to take responsibility for the planning and the execution of your business plan. And that's how you should look at it. And along with that is continuous learning. Never, ever reach a point where you say, that's it, I've learned all I need to know. Because things will continue to change. And you need to be able to change with them. Doug Manning, who's the CEO of Bridges, which is a career development corporation, says the purpose of a plan is to bring value to today. It allows you to live your life on purpose instead of just accidentally. So whether you go on to post-secondary education, whether you go directly to work, whether you go into the military, no matter what your choices are, always remember the words of Dumbledore. Anybody know who Dumbledore is? Harry Potter. Next book's going to be out in June, right? Looking forward to it. I'll admit, I'm coming out. I've read every book. I think they're great. Anyway, Dumbledore said to Harry Potter in the Chamber of Secrets, "It's our choices, Harry, that show what we truly are, far more than our abilities. What you choose to do with your time, what you choose to purchase, what you choose to pursue as a career, that's who you are." Make who you are what you truly want to be. I'm sure that you have at times, students, thought about what you're going to do in the next phase of your life. Don't be afraid to imagine. Don't be afraid to be creative. Don't listen to people when they say you can't have your cake and eat it too. If you have a dream, if you have a goal, get it done. A lot of people will try to deter you. But as Albert Einstein said, your imagination is your preview of life's coming attractions. What you can imagine and what you truly pursue is what will happen for you. So we have a generation that's different. You've been brought up in the fires of technological change. You're very capable and competent in that regard. You've shown your capability in the educational setting. My challenge to you tonight is, in spite of all your accomplishments in the past, and we're celebrating the present, look to the future. As Jonathan Swift said, may you truly live all the days of your life. Thank you.
Very inspirational, certainly gives us a lot to think about and where we're going in these wonderful years ahead for each of you students. We're going to get right into the program now. For the presentation of the recipients, I'm going to ask that Barb Daniels, President of the Board of Education, and Judy Redmond, President of the Chamber, come up and assist me. I'm going to indicate to you, parents, we would love to have you come up and take a picture when your son or daughter is up here, so don't hesitate, don't be bashful. Come on up with them if you want to take a picture. What would help facilitate us moving through the program is it does take a little while to do this, and we want to give each individual the recognition they deserve. If you could kind of follow the program and be ready as I call one name, if the next person could be ready, and as the person up here is getting theirs, I'll call the next name, and it'll move us through it pretty good. You all set? Laura Adamson, Port Huron Northern, third year bar. Ryan Anglin, Port Huron Northern, fourth year bar. Felicia Arnold, Port Huron High School, third year bar. Whitney Ashford, Port Huron High School, Academic Scholars Diploma, fourth year bar. Lori Batchelor, Port Huron High School, fourth year bar. Joseph Blake, Port Huron High School, fourth year bar. Robert Brown, Port Huron Northern, Academic Scholars Diploma, fourth year bar. Aaron Burry, Port Huron Northern, Academic Scholars Diploma, fourth year bar. Andrew Busher, Port Huron Northern, Academic Scholars Diploma, fourth year bar. Laura Collier, Port Huron High School, valedictorian, fourth year bar. Amanda Case, Port Huron High School, fourth year bar. Amanda Cassidy, Port Huron Northern, fourth year bar. Victoria Castile, Port Huron High School, fourth year bar. Kristen Sharon, Port Huron Northern, Academic Scholars Diploma, fourth year bar. Rachel Chisholm, Port Huron High School, fourth year bar. Amy Clark, Port Huron Northern, fourth year bar. Next student is Thomas Klein, Port Huron High School, first year PIN. Elizabeth Clive, Port Huron Northern, valedictorian, Academic Scholars Diploma, and fourth year bar. Anna Cox, Port Huron Northern, fourth year bar. Christine Cuppen, Port Huron Northern, fourth year bar. Joshua Davis, Port Huron Northern, Academic Scholars Diploma, fourth year bar. Scott Dido, Port Huron Northern, Academic Scholars Diploma, fourth year bar. Derek DeWitt, Port Huron High School, second year letter. Ashley Dion, Port Huron High School, fourth year bar. Bridget Dunsmore, Port Huron High School, fourth year bar. Dane Edmondson, Port Huron High School, fourth year bar. Christopher Enders, Port Huron Northern, Academic Scholars Diploma, fourth year bar. Andrea Everhart, Port Huron High School, fourth year bar. Michelle Ayer, Port Huron High School, fourth year bar. Nicole Ferguson, Port Huron Northern, fourth year bar. Kelly Fiedler, Port Huron High School, Academic Scholars Diploma, fourth year bar. Kelly Fiedler, Port Huron High School, Academic Scholars Diploma, 4th year bar. Matthew Fogel, Port Huron High School, Academic Scholars Diploma, 4th year bar. Rebecca Frazier, Port Huron High School, 4th year bar. Amanda Frazier, Port Huron High School, 2nd year letter. Sherry Lynn Furness, Port Huron Northern, 4th year bar. Rachel Gaffney, Port Huron Northern, 4th year bar. Rachel Gaffney, Port Huron Northern, 4th year bar. Is that her? Okay. Sorry. Caleb Gurdon, Port Huron Northern, Academic Scholars Diploma, 4th year bar. John Glombowski, Port Huron Northern, 4th year bar. Amy Goen, Port Huron Northern, 3rd year bar. Ann Grant, Port Huron Northern, 4th year bar. Aaron Grattan, Port Huron High School, Academic Scholars Diploma, 4th year bar. Rachel Grattan, Port Huron High School, 4th year bar. Amanda Greer, Port Huron Northern, 4th year bar. Stephen Hall, Port Huron Northern, Academic Scholars Diploma, 4th year bar. Katie Harrington, Port Huron Northern, 4th year bar. Jennifer Haslam, Port Huron Northern, 4th year bar. Justin Hearn, Port Huron Northern, 4th year bar. Katie Hesterberg, Port Huron Northern, 4th year bar. Matthew Hoffman, Port Huron High School, 4th year bar. William Howard, Port Huron Northern, 3rd year bar. see right now. Nicole Jablonski, Port Huron Northern, fourth year bar. Samantha Jones, Port Huron Northern, fourth year bar. Kathleen Juzista, Port Huron Northern, Academic Scholars Diploma, fourth year bar. Angela Kamer, Port Huron Northern, Academic Scholars Diploma, fourth year bar. Casey Kern, Port Huron Northern, Academic Scholars Diploma, fourth year bar. Ashley Kibbe, Port Huron Northern, second year letter. Anna Kleinart, Port Huron Northern, fourth year bar. Virginia Kleinstecker, Port Huron Northern, fourth year bar. Kevin Noost, Port Huron Northern, valedictorian, Academic Scholars Diploma, fourth year bar. Nathan LaBelle, Port Huron Northern, Academic Scholars Diploma, fourth year bar. Sarah Landshut, Port Huron High School, fourth year bar. Tamara Lavate, Port Huron Northern, fourth year bar. Jessica Ledbetter, Port Huron High School, third year bar. Nicole Ledsworth, Port Huron High School, fourth year bar. Sarah Leslie, Port Huron Northern, fourth year bar. Crystal Lewis, Port Huron High School, fourth year bar. June Liu, Port Huron Northern, fourth year bar. Stephanie Lone, Port Huron Northern, fourth year bar. Hannah Markell, Port Huron High School, third year bar. Eric Mastria, Port Huron Northern, valedictorian, Academic Scholars Diploma, fourth year bar. Sarah May, Port Huron Northern, Academic Scholars Diploma, fourth year bar. James Mazur, Port Huron Northern, Academic Scholars Diploma, fourth year bar. Bridget McCarthy, Port Huron Northern, Academic Scholars Diploma, 4th year bar. Melissa Menard, Port Huron Northern, Academic Scholars Diploma, 4th year bar. Sarah Minnis, Port Huron High School, 4th year bar. Julie Moss, Port Huron Northern, 4th year bar. Jennifer Moles, Port Huron Northern, 4th year bar. Michael Mowinski, Port Huron High School, 4th year bar. Randall Muir, Port Huron Northern, 4th year bar. Andrew Mullally, Port Huron Northern, Salutatorian, Academic Scholars Diploma, 4th year bar. Joseph Knackley, Port Huron Northern, Academic Scholars Diploma, 4th year bar. Mark Naplin, Port Huron Northern, 4th year bar. Benjamin Curtis Neal, Port Huron Northern, Academic Scholars Diploma, 4th year bar. Tiffany Norton, Port Huron Northern, 4th year bar. Kimberly Oberski, Port Huron High School, valedictorian, Academic Scholars Diploma, 4th year bar. Megan Palmatier, Port Huron Northern, 1st year pin. Tara Paquin, Port Huron Northern, 4th year bar. Jeremiah Patrick, Port Huron Northern, Salutatorian, 4th year bar. Lee Peltz, Port Huron High School, 4th year bar. Katie Perry, Port Huron High School, 4th year bar. Derek Peterson, Port Huron Northern, 4th year bar. Kelly Pitlash, Port Huron Northern, 4th year bar. Allison Porritt, Port Huron Northern, Academic Scholars Diploma, 4th year bar. Lindsay Prowse, Port Huron Northern, 4th year bar. Caitlin Rashid, Port Huron Northern, 4th year bar. Rahul Reddy, Port Huron Northern, Academic Scholars Diploma, 4th year bar. Kristen Reed, Port Huron High School, 4th year bar. Emily Robb, Port Huron Northern, 4th year bar. Grace Titus, Port Huron Northern, 4th year bar. Grace Titus, 4th year bar. I jumped one? I'm sorry. No. Christopher Ropish, Port Huron Northern, Academic Scholars Diploma, 4th year bar. Grace Rush, Port Huron Northern, Academic Scholars Diploma, 4th year bar. Sarah Ruiz, Port Huron Northern, valedictorian, Academic Scholars Diploma, 4th year bar. Andrew Rupel, Port Huron High School, 4th year bar. William Rutledge, Port Huron High School, Academic Scholars Diploma, 4th year bar. Aaron Shoddy, Port Huron High School, valedictorian, 4th year bar. Jacob Schlegel, Port Huron Northern, 4th year bar. Casey Schlager, Port Huron Northern, Academic Scholars Diploma, 4th year bar. Kimberly Seaton, Port Huron Northern, Academic Scholars Diploma, 4th year bar. Kathleen Seraphin, Port Huron Northern, 4th year bar. Natalie Ann Shields, Port Huron Northern, 4th year bar. Colleen Seaman, Port Huron High School, 4th year bar. Megan Slyford, Port Huron Northern, fourth year bar. Andrew Smith, Port Huron High School, third year bar. Annalise Smith, Port Huron High School, fourth year bar. Kara Smith, Port Huron Northern, Academic Scholars Diploma, fourth year bar. Kyle Smith, Port Huron High School, fourth year bar. Our next student isn't with us, but I want to make a comment. It's Camille Stanley, Port Huron High School, fourth year bar. Camille could not be here tonight because she is in Detroit receiving the very prestigious Lem Tucker Journalism Scholarship. This full four-year scholarship was created in memory of Lem Tucker for the contributions he made as a journalist. Mr. Woline, principal of Port Huron High School, was asked to be present and support her at the scholarship award ceremony tonight. Sarah Steele, Port Huron High School, fourth year bar. Andrew Tetro, Port Huron Northern, Academic Scholars Diploma, fourth year bar. Muriel Thomas, Port Huron Northern, fourth year bar. David Thompson, Port Huron Northern, Academic Scholars Diploma, fourth year bar. Lindsay Toms, Port Huron High School, fourth year bar. Jason Tippy, Port Huron High School, valedictorian, fourth year bar. Grace Titus, Port Huron Northern, fourth year bar. She hasn't. Well, only the special people get to do this twice. Matthew Turnbull, Port Huron Northern, second year letter. Molly Tuttle, Port Huron Northern, second year letter. Jason Walls, Port Huron Northern, fourth year bar. Rebecca Wilson, Port Huron Northern, fourth year bar. Nicholas Wood, Port Huron High School, salutatorian, fourth year bar. Lindsay Wright, Port Huron Northern, fourth year bar. Dustin Youngs, Port Huron Northern, Academic Scholars Diploma, third year bar. Alicia Zimmer, Port Huron Northern, fourth year bar. I just want to make sure we didn't miss anybody. We all set? Congratulations.
Could Matt Fogel raise his hand, please? Where's Matt Fogel? Okay, thank you.
After you've worked with Ken Kraft for a while, you never argue with him because he always knows what he's doing. He's the most organized guy here. At this point, I'm going to vary from the program just for a brief second and thank our speaker, John Williams, for a wonderful speech. And also, we have a small gift for you that we hope you will enjoy in your office. So we're going to ask you to come up and open it. We only give this gift to very special speakers and people, friends of the Port Huron Area School District. If you'd like to open this and let people see what it is.
Sure. All right, who wrapped it? I think this was my grandmother at Christmas time.
Hold it up so they get a look at it. This was actually framed by one of our board members, Chuck Maker. Isn't that beautiful? Thank you very much. At this point, we're going to move on to a very special part of our program. When the Chamber of Commerce in the school district started this program, people were saying that, you know, there's some teachers that really deserve some credit. The parents certainly do, and the students do, but so do the teachers. It wouldn't happen without the teachers. And there are some teachers that are very, very special to our students who had a great deal of influence on them in one way or another. So we let the students choose each year a teacher from each high school that has had a major influence on the group of young people you have with us here tonight. So we're going to start with Port Huron Northern High School National Honor Society Vice President Sarah Ruiz. Sarah, if you could join me at the podium. She's going to make a few comments, and we have a special award for a teacher from Port Huron Northern High School that has had a great influence on our students. Sarah?
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Sarah Ruiz, Port Huron Northern's National Honor Society Vice President. I'd like to present to you tonight an outstanding person who will be receiving Northern's Most Influential Teacher of the Year award, Mr. Michael Artman. Mr. Artman is a literature teacher at Northern as well as a history teacher. Both are areas of which he has a natural talent in teaching. Students commonly refer to his teaching and his classes as valuable, awesome, inspiring, and some even refer to Mr. Artman himself as their hero. Mr. Artman is deserving of this award tonight in many ways. For one, the man loves what he does and does a wonderful job because of this. He catches students' interest by telling stories of backpacking across the country, visiting other countries, and some very historical and amazing places on Earth. Not only does he entertain his classroom, but he inspires the students to become passionate and curious about history as he is. Through literature, Mr. Artman can turn a student who hates to read into a student who can't seem to put a book down. My brother had Mr. Artman a few years ago, and he did just this. Obviously, he has a great impact on how his students feel about learning, and he creates a successful environment for them to do so in. Some personal encounters with Mr. Artman really showed me how dedicated and great he is. Both Mr. Artman and his wife traveled to Sedona, Arizona on spring break this year. My family did also. On the plane ride home, they had to repack a suitcase because they had bought too many books on the area. I knew then how much his students value the knowledge and experiences Mr. Artman shares with them. While waiting for the plane, I talked to Mr. Artman and learned that a good friend of mine, his student, who strongly dislikes cats, was taking care of Mr. Artman's cat, Kevin Pierre, while the teacher was on vacation. Not only did the student sacrifice his distaste for cats for Mr. Artman, but he told me he did it because Mr. Artman is his hero, and he couldn't say no to someone like that. Mr. Artman is an amazing teacher at Northern and will be terribly missed by many graduating seniors this year. As a person, he is intelligent and respected, and as a teacher, he is powerful and inspirational. Please welcome Mr. Michael Artman, this year's most influential teacher.
Congratulations again.
Thank you, sir, for that wonderful introduction. I'm not sure where you got all that information from, but I think I know. I remember 8 years ago having a conversation with one of the assistant principals at Port Huron Northern about my classes that year. And I said that it had been the best year of my teaching career and that I could not imagine it getting any better. He disagreed, but I insisted that I could not imagine a better year than that. And then I met the class of 2005 and I realized how wrong I was, because the 2 years I have spent with you have truly been the best 2 years of my teaching career. When reflecting back on those 2 years, I am flooded with nothing but wonderful memories. One memory I have is of my AP history students planting flowers in Pine Grove Park on a very damp and cold spring morning. However, the weather did not prevent us from having a great time that day as we divided into groups, pretending that we were families from Frontier House as we planted the flowers around the Huron Lightship. And of course, I always have wonderful memories of the candlelight home tour my wife and I host at the end of the year in our Victorian house. To explain what this is all about, I invite my students over to our home, and each student is instructed to arrive in costume portraying a figure from history. Then, after a tour of our home, each student gets up in front of the entire group and briefly explains who they are. This particular class portrayed people as diverse as Crispus Attucks and Preston Brooks to young Tom Edison and Dr. Woodrow Wilson. And for the first time, several students from this class arrived as a group. Two groups that stand out in my memory are Brigham Young and his many wives, and of course, who will ever forget the Supremes and their impromptu concert in the backyard. And speaking of music, we concluded the evening with a piano recital by Nathan LaBelle. Then, of course, there are the American literature classes. What can I say about them? I'm sure all of you will remember those infamous road trips to Ernest Hemingway's Paris or Jack London's Alaska. As for first hour, even though I always try to have fun in class, last year we did experience a tragedy with the kidnapping of Mr. Bill. After several weeks of negotiations, however, he was returned safely, only to be locked in the birdcage. And then there was second hour. One memory I will always have of that class is the Battle of the Hare between Mark Naplin and Joe Nackley. They sat next to each other the entire semester, and as the semester went on, the hair continued to grow larger and larger until finally I couldn't see my desk anymore. And then of course, there are the novel conferences. Actually, I look forward to these because it was the one time I had a chance to spend some quality time with all of you, and we ended up talking many times more, we ended up talking more than just about the novel. However, on a more serious note, I know everyone is contemplating graduation and what lies beyond. Thinking about this made me remember a character in Edgar Lee Masters' Spoon River Anthology. For the people who are not familiar with this book, Masters created a fictional town in southern Illinois and related the people and the history of Spoon River through epitaphs. As we read the book, you get a sense, or as you read the book, you get a sense of the town, its history, and the lives of the people who live there. One of the epitaphs was of a person called George Gray. His story read, "I have studied many times the marble which was chiseled for me, a boat with a furled sail at rest in a harbor. In truth it pictures not my destination but my life. For love was offered me and I shrank from its disillusionment. Sorrow knocked at my door but I was afraid. Ambition called to me but I dreaded the chances. Yet all the while I hungered for meaning in my life, and now I know that we must lift the sail and catch the winds of destiny wherever they drive the boat. To put meaning in one's life may end in madness, but life without meaning is the torture of restless and vague desire. It is the boat longing for the sea and yet afraid." In class, we read and discussed the life of George Gray and realized that he had never lived. He was afraid to leave the harbor. So my advice to you tonight is not to live life as George Gray did. Instead, unfurl your sail and sail forth from the harbor. Chart your own destiny so that the day that you look back on your life, you will realize that you have truly lived. And finally, from the beginning of our relationship together as a class, I feel that a strong bond has been created with all of you to the point where I consider you to be my family. And as a result, I now know what it is like to be a parent and to watch your child get ready to leave for college. I am so excited for all of you as you unfurl your sail and chart your destiny, but I want all of you to know how difficult it's going to be for me when it's time to say goodbye. I want to thank you for this honor tonight. You have no idea what it means coming from your particular class, and this is truly the highlight of my teaching career. Thank you very, very much.
For those of you that aren't aware of this, I think Mr. Hartman's making this a habit. He has been up here before and certainly very influential. We're very proud of him. I'd like to ask Kim Atkinson, president of Port Huron High School National Honor Society, to come up and talk about the most influential teacher for this year at Port Huron High School. Kim?
Good evening. It's an honor to be presenting this award tonight. Port Huron High School's Teacher of the Year has been a teacher of English, literature, and Shakespeare in Big Red Country for 20 years. She is a resident of the Port Huron area, a graduate of Oakland University, including graduate studies in English and graduate studies in journalism at Ball State University in Indiana. She is also a devoted wife and mother of 2 daughters. She's had to play the role of athletic booster and band boosters, in addition to her teaching career as well. Her hobbies include attending theater productions, reading, gardening, and special family moments. Our Teacher of the Year has been very dedicated to her students during her career here at PH, devoting many hours to the revitalization of the school newspaper, The Lighthouse, and yearly production of the school's award-winning yearbook title, The Student. I have personally had the pleasure of having our Teacher of the Year as my writing from literature teacher, where we explored great works such as Great Expectations and Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. Her passion for literature is apparent in how she teaches every class. Please join me in congratulating Port Huron High School's 2005 Teacher of the Year, Mrs. Mary Jane Zahner.
That was a big step. I have to begin the address with a heartfelt and simple thank you. I'm both touched and really honored that you've nominated me for this award. As I sat at my desk and tried to pen this message, I reflected on the curriculum units that we've covered together. Harkening back to 9th grade writing from literature class, I looked first to Greek mythology and thoughts of the muse of literature. Then I realized I didn't need to go back thousands of years for my inspiration. All I had to do was look back at my desk. Those of you who've been in room 220 recently know that the cracked glass has been replaced by plexiglass, and under that glass, many of you and your predecessors smile at me with those "I made it" grins. Those photos hold years of memories filled with old age jokes, short jokes, thank you very much, occasional tears from life's hardships, and of course, many, many experiences, both yours and mine, with learning. We've struggled through some of Shakespeare's paradoxes and motifs, and definitely literary terms. We've laughed on bus trips. We've created poetry and writing workshops. And what's really amazing is how you've learned to defend your own opinions in class discussions and in your essays. Those remembrances are imprinted and they're saved. Despite the really long winter, it went by fast, and that's because you were my sunshine. Congratulations on what you have achieved. Now for the advice. You've been goal-oriented. Keep planning. You've got the tools and the talents. Use them. You've ruled the high school hallways. Now let the world know you're there.
Thank you.
You know, when you hang around the schools as long as I have, you start to recognize names over and over again. And people say to me, you know, I want my child or my student to have Mrs. So-and-so or Mr. So-and-so. The two teachers that were honored tonight, I hear their names a lot, and I'm sure you hear them at home, and you would not have wanted your student to not have had the experience of having them, because they've helped shape them into who they are tonight. And we certainly congratulate you, and I know that your peers that are here tonight from Northern and PH are very proud of you as well. Thank you for a job well done. Just a brief comment before I turn it over to Mr. Kraft. I have to tell you, this is the last one of these that I'll be doing, and I've been at all 21 of them. And this is a wonderful group of young people tonight. I'm impressed. I think we had the largest turnout we've had. Everybody was well-dressed, very patient. It's a long night. And you folks that are graduating this year, that are here tonight, are going to have wonderful careers and lives, and you're going to make us proud. And I couldn't have asked for a better group to spend the last one of these that I'm going to be a part of with. Thank you very much. Mr. Kraft. I will. I do too.
I'm going to say one thing that's not scheduled to be said, and that's that a couple of you have joked about the fact that I'm on crutches tonight. It seems like every year there's something. And so kids, when you start to reach 50, just wait for it. It just goes. I've done head, shoulders, knees, and toes, so that's enough of the elementary song. I want to thank you all for being here this evening. I hope you've had a good evening. To everything, there is a beginning and an end. And to symbolize the end of our festivities tonight, I'm going to ask that someone at each table, would you please blow out the candle in your centerpiece, but be careful of the glass at the top because it will be hot. and that will allow us to let the wax cool and take the centerpieces home once we've cleared the hall. So would someone please blow out the candle at each one? This evening we have shared in a very special ceremony honoring the accomplishments of our children, those who will soon exit our educational program to venture into new experiences in life. And although they are about to begin their journeys into the world as adults, we will always remember them and hold them close in our hearts as our children. They stand on the threshold of tomorrow's opportunities, ready to end one stage of life and embark on new and exciting adventures. As parents and educators, we must let them go, trusting that we have given them the skills and the confidence to tackle whatever the future holds. Students, we look forward to seeing you become successful in whatever you choose to do or be. In the meantime, be ready for life's surprises. Our celebration now comes to a close, but just around the corner is another new beginning, another fresh start. We wish you all the best. Thank you all for coming. Have a safe trip home. Good night.